There are four factors that I could say are driving this current act of terrorism in Nigeria today. The first, which a lot of people don't like talking about, is the climate crisis that we have, not only in Nigeria, but across the world. Then the second factor is that of the search for critical minerals. So there is a new economy that is emerging across the globe. And in this new economy, a lot of scholars are beginning to speculate that critical minerals is actually going to become the new oil across the world. And Nigeria is rich in many of the critical minerals that are driving 21st century economy. So the search for those critical minerals are the second factor that is driving the insurgency and kidnapping across Nigeria today. Then the third factor, of course, is external forces. So oftentimes we fail to recognize the fact that there are some external forces that are actually driving this act of kidnapping across the country. And that is because our borders are porous, and we have countries such as Niger, that we have a border with Niger, we have with Chad, we have with Cameroon, and we have with other countries in the West African sub-region. And some of the leaders of these countries are not cooperating currently with the government of Nigeria. So I'm talking about the government of Niger, then the government of Burkina Faso, and the government of Mali, who claim to have formed the Alliance for Sahel. And many of those who are kidnapping and also mining for minerals across many parts of Nigeria are traveling across the borders from Mali, from Burkina Faso, from Niger to Nigeria to engage in this banditry. So then the fourth element of this banditry are those who you could call people taking advantage of the insecurity in the country to also make cash or make money for themselves. And these are criminal. Of course, all of these are criminals, but the most criminal element of them are those who are kidnapping for ransom and just kidnapping because they see it as something that is going on across the country, therefore they want to profit from it. So those are the four elements that I see that is driving the current spate of kidnapping and insurgency in the country.
You cited four factors: climate change, availability of essential critical minerals, as you call them, external forces also playing a role. Then, maybe those you call opportunists, bandits, if there's anything like that. But the question would then be, why is our own peculiar? Because we're not the only mineral-rich country in the world. We are also not the only ones that climate change is affecting. And even the other factors in terms of external forces, I mean, we know that countries have always tried to destabilize other countries. Why are we not able to deal with these problems? Or do you think we are doing our best as it is now?
I think, without, or let me put it this way. Now, when the state is doing something that is important, I think we should commend the state for that. So I will not say that the Nigerian government is not doing enough to put an end to the insurgency or to the kidnappings that is currently going on across the country. But the question becomes, is what they are doing actually more than enough? Or can they do better than that? Of course, they can do better than that, but we also have to commend them for what they are currently doing, which is cooperating with some world powers across the country to control the flow of those insurgents into the country and to also eliminate those that they can eliminate. But to your question about why Nigeria, Nigeria doesn't live in isolation of what is also currently going on in other parts of the world. So it is not only in Nigeria that these cases are rampant. It is rampant across many of the critically rich, or let me put it this way, many of those who are rich in critical minerals across the world, whether it is in Africa or in Latin America or in Asia. So we see the drive towards having access to these critical minerals also driving insurgency and driving all sort of militancy and all sort of resource extractive practices across many of these spaces. So Nigeria does not live in isolation of all of this. So Nigeria is crucial because we are all Nigerians and we are witnessing what is going on in Nigeria. But other parts of Africa will tell you, or other people in Africa will tell you that they are also witnessing the same thing, whether it is in Mali, or it is in Rwanda, or it is in the DRC. In fact, the DRC, for example, the Democratic Republic of the Congo, they've always been in the forefront of this kind of search for critical minerals since their independence in the 1960s. And that is because they are the most endowed in terms of critical minerals in the world. So, and which is why they've remained unstable since independence in the 1960s. So Nigeria is not just alone in this. So Nigeria and several other countries are also suffering the same consequences of the search for critical minerals.
All right, Prof. You mentioned that the government is trying. Maybe we can say they have not done more than enough. Now let's look at part of what they are doing, which is the proposal to have state police. To have it taken away from the exclusive list to the concurrent list. It has gone past both the House of Representatives and the Senate, and it's now left for the State House of Assembly to consider it for concurrence. Critics are, some of them are, let me say, terrified of the potential challenges. Many have talked about funding, that if a state cannot generate enough revenue to pay basic salaries for civil servants, we still have so many states in Nigeria today that are not able to even deal with the old minimum wage, not to now mention the new ones. How does it now fund a highly tactical armed police force without compromising its integrity? Do you see this as something do you see this as a valid concern?
Well, I'll say this. There was this American president that once said that the only thing to fear is fear itself. I think it was JFK that said, that the only thing to fear is fear itself. So I do not think that we should stand and do nothing just because we fear what the future will hold for us. So rather than fear what the future will hold for us, we should face the consequences of that particular future.
If you just take a plunge?
Yeah, absolutely, because if we